Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I am Tinesha Davis. This is Fun and Budget, and you are here because it is time for another battle of the budgets. Yo, this month we have a brand new budget to analyze, and once again, it is my budget up against Rochelle Adamson's budget. Okay, so I'm doing my take on this budget. She on her channel is going to do her take on this budget, and then we're going to give this budget to the person who is our client for this month, and she is dun, 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 Budgeting D. Yay! We are tackling Budgeting D's budget. So once again, guys, we are here to see who does it better. At the end of this, Budgeting D is going to look at my budget. She's going to look at the budget that Rochelle Addison submits to her, and we're going to see if she either chooses to accept or reject our budgets. Will she go with my budget? Will she go with Rochelle's budget? Or will she go with neither of our budgets? Or will she do her own thing with the budget? We don't know. All I can do right here is my best take on what she has given me and what I know. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's talk about it. Okay, let's begin. For the month of December, she has said that she is going to bring in $4,700. This is going to be the money that hits her bank account, and she wants my help, okay, our help, in figuring out what she should do with it. What's her best strategy? So the first thing we're going to look at is her adult responsibilities, her adult bills, guys. Right here, I'm going to plug in her first thing is rent. She pays $910 a month in rent. And when we look in this left-hand corner, we're going to see exactly what she has left to budget every time I plug in a number. So right now, this leaves us with $3,790 to budget. Next is her electricity bill at $70, and then her gas bill at $20. Her internet service is $75. And then her cell phone is the same, $75. She has a car note of $330. And we are not listing this as a debt because she is leasing her car. And at this point, she doesn't know if she's going to continue leasing it to buy it or if she's going to return her lease. So right now, her car expense is $330. And there's no goal right here to pay off or pay down anything, okay? Her insurance is going to be $167. And this is for her renter's insurance as well as her car insurance. So after all of that is said and done, she has $3,053 left to budget. And her adult bills, her household bills, came up to $1,647. And this is roughly 35% of her total budget, okay? Next, we're going to go down and take a look at subscriptions. She has a bunch of different subscription services that she submitted to the committee. And her first thing is Apple storage. Now, of course, this doesn't make anybody bat an eye. It's $1. And then she has Apple iTunes, which she pays $10 a month. Netflix comes in at $16 a month. And I know I pay about $13, I think, for Netflix. So I'm not sure if the $16 a month is what subscription service that is, like what's included. Leave a comment below and let me know because I don't know the differences between the different Netflix plans. But I'm thinking that with the $16 a month, you can share your account with more people. I think that's one of the main differences. And then she has Hulu at $12 a month. And that is it for subscriptions. So her subscription services are not bad at all. It comes in at $39 a month. The next area we're going to look at is cash envelopes. Now, it's funny because a lot of people whose budgeting channels I watch, they actually do cash envelopes. I am not a cash envelope person, but this budget is not about me. It's about me taking what you have already done, Budget and D, what she has already done, and just applying some techniques. Now, if we were to work together further in the future, we may make more adjustments, we may make more tweaks, more changes, but right now it's not meant to be drastic. It's meant to be subtle. So I'm really going to take the blueprint, the framework within that you're already working in, and see what we can do with it, okay? So, for cash envelopes. Now, I ain't got nothing to say about groceries right here because you are already doing phenomenal. Your grocery budget is $150 a month, and that is like similar to what I do, so I'm all good with that. Gasoline for the car, that also comes in at $150. House, for household goods, I'm imagining that's for toilet paper, paper towels, cleaning products, things that the house may need replenished, and that comes in at $50. Personal, we're going to give you $200 here, and I don't see anything that we need to do any differently. And then you also have a miscellaneous for your cash envelopes, and I guess that's for the things, odds and ends, the things that pop up that don't necessarily have a nice neat category, and we have $50 right there. So cash envelopes comes to $600. Now, the next place we're going to go is sinking funds. I got it called sinking funds / savings because even though I know like a lot of people call it sinking funds and it makes them feel better to know that they're spending from a certain pot of money to go to a certain thing, it's all savings. In my opinion, it's all savings. The difference is sometimes with a long-term savings account, we actually try not to touch it. And then with a sinking fund, we actually set it there because we know that one day in the future, we will touch it. And we're not going to have guilt for touching it. We actually give ourselves permission to touch it. Hence the label sinking fund, because the funds may go down and then they may go up, but they're expected to go down as the year goes on. Okay. Now, when I was looking at Budget and D's sinking funds, I was like, you know what? Because there's a lot of sinking funds here. But I think it's the classic case of what is your ultimate plan for your finances? I feel that everybody has to have a plan, an ultimate, a bigger picture for their finances. For a lot of us, when we start off, it's getting out of debt. We're like, you know what? On this journey, I have one main goal, and that goal is to get out of debt. But what happens when you're already out of debt? Budget and D is now debt free. As of, I believe it was September, she made her last credit card payment. So she doesn't have a I'm trying to get out of debt hanging over her head anymore. So I think when you are narrowing, I want to have everybody think about this. Not just you, D. You need to think about this, but I also want everybody else to think about this who may still have debt. When you are approaching becoming debt free, or even if you're like, let's say a year out from being debt free, start thinking right now, what is your game plan once you have no debt? What is your long-term financial plan? Okay. And D, I ask you this because as I was looking at your sinking funds, I realized that they are what they are because you really don't have a real strong, concrete plan for what you want to do with your money now that you're debt free. And I want you to come up with a plan. I want to have a conversation with you about coming up with a plan because my fear is this. When people become debt free, when they don't have a plan, it's easy to go back in debt because you will become financially bored. You will become bored. Like, I got all of this money. It's just sitting here. I really don't have much that I have to do with it. Now what? Now what? Okay. But we are here. So let's talk about these sinking funds. The first sinking fund you have is car, which is a good sinking fund. This means if, let's say, like if something breaks down with the car, which I'm not sure how it works on leases. I'm not sure. You're going to have to let me know in the comments below how it works when you have a lease. Like if something breaks on a lease, let's say like AC or engine, I don't know. Don't you just kind of like don't the dealership fix it? So I'm not sure exactly what can go wrong with the car, but I know you still are responsible for your tires, oil change, things like that. So right now we're going to put $100 in the sinking fund for the car. Okay. Now I don't know if that $100 is too much. And I don't know how much you already have in the sinking fund for the car, because I do feel with a leased car, there may come a point where you're maxed out. You don't need that much in the car. But your car fund can also mean maybe you're putting aside money for your next car decision. If you're going to pick up another lease and you want to put some money down, or if you're going to buy a car and you want to put some money down, I'm not sure. So right now we got $100 in the car fund. And then we have a medical sinking fund, and we're going to put $50 there. Travel, because I think everybody should travel. Travel is a thing, y'all. It is a very important thing. And so for your travel fund, I'm putting $150 in the travel fund. Mr. Poops. I'm assuming Mr. Poops is the turtle. I'm assuming. And if for those of you guys who don't watch, matter of fact, let's take this time to say, guys, don't forget to thumbs up this video, subscribe if you're not a member of this family, but also go over to Budgeting D's channel and subscribe there too. When this video is done, we're going to be able to take a look at Rochelle Adamson's budget, so you're going to see what she did with this budget, and go over to Budgeting D for the final decision to see ultimately what she's going to choose for her December budget, okay? Now, Mr. Poops, I think Mr. Poops is a turtle. If you watch her videos, there is this turtle. I swear he's crying out for help, because I swear he look like he drowning. She say he's swimming, but he be like, I can't breathe. I don't know nothing about turtles, but I think that is what Mr. Poops sinking fund is. So we're going to put $20 in the sinking fund for Mr. Poops the turtle, I think. House. All right, so above we see that we put $50 in a cash envelope for house, but also right here she has a house sinking fund. Now, I know that she is renting because she also pays rental insurance, right? So I'm not sure. When we think about a sinking fund, when we think about sinking funds, any of us, we have to think about what could pop up in the future that would require this money. So what in your home could pop up that will require a fund to fund it? I don't know. And I don't know, because I know that she's had a sinking fund for her house, so I'm imagining that there's some money there. But what kind of things would actually come out of this sinking fund that would need to be funded? Because I don't know. I'm not putting anything in that bucket. And the reason why I'm playing hardcore like this, is because I do feel that a lot of people get caught up in the sinking fund bucket as an excuse to just either shop and spend, or just put aside money for no good reason when there's other things that should be funded. So let's go down to beauty. Beauty, hair, nails, things like that. We are going to go ahead and be generous, because I already know, somebody has said to me during my videos, like, I wouldn't put that much in my beauty things, like getting my nails done, getting my eyelashes done, getting my hair done. But I know for some of us, and especially those of us who are on YouTube, some things are just a must. And I'm going to call the black card. When you're a black woman, yeah, sometimes you got to outsource some of these things. So beauty, we're going to put $50 in the beauty sinking fund. Personal, we're going to put $150 here. Now, I'm going to tell you guys, I'm actually going a little high in some of these areas, and I have a method behind my madness, which I'm going to come back to when we get to the end of this. So online shopping, we're going to put $50 here. And then Raja gets $50 in that sinking fund. Now, this is when you know you ain't got nothing to do with your money. Homegirl got a boyfriend sinking fund, okay? And I asked her on one of her videos, because I was curious, like, what go in a boyfriend sinking fund? And I believe, because she is in a long distance relationship, so I believe the type of things that go in a boyfriend sinking fund is because, A, long distance, you have to travel back and forth to see each other. Also, there's dating, so that costs money. And then I'm thinking, holidays and things pop up, whether it's your anniversary, Christmas, birthdays, Valentine's Day, things like that. So I'm assuming this is what the boyfriend sinking fund is. I'm assuming it's the whole cost of dating. in the cost of dating long distance. And I actually believe that this is a smart idea because I'm in a long distance relationship. And I think that there's a lot of people who are in relationships, but we don't always factor the true cost that it may cost to play. What does it cost? And whose pocket should that come out of? Because I know a lot of us women feel like, well, he should be, hey, but come on, let's think about this. We are all human beings with budgets. And dating can become very expensive. So I do think that it's super smart to actually set this money aside for things that may come up. Taxes, $16 for her monthly tax guide. And then she does a lot of savings, and she does different saving challenges. Right now, she's doing her 26-week savings challenge plus another savings challenge, which should have her saving about $5,000. So we are going to fund this with me and these zeros with $415, guys. And as you see, we still have over $1,000 left to spend, and we only have 2 things left, y'all. Only 2 things left. So $415 to savings, $200 to her boyfriend. She got all the money for personal. Emergency fund. Emergency fund. Her fund is not fully funded just yet, but she does have some money coming in the future, so it's not high on her list of priorities. However, I am going to move it a little higher on my list of priorities because I feel that once it's funded, it's funded. And all of the money that you have coming in the future or whatever can then go to something else. So it really doesn't matter one way or another, you know. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do $250 to the emergency savings fund. And right now we're working on the goal of saving up for 3 months of living expenses, okay? And the emergency fund, unlike all of the other savings, that's so that, like, let's say, like, if something happens and you do lose your income, this is a fund set here so that if that happens, if the ultimate thing that you don't want to happen actually happens, you will still be able to pay your bills for at least 3 months, okay? And that should be a good amount of time to find something else or to get back on your feet. And then if you don't feel that 3 months is enough, then after you reach your 3 month, you can move it to 6 months. Then you can go for 9 months. You can do whatever you need to do to feel comfortable, but don't go overboard because you don't need but so much money. And when I say that, like, let's say like a year, if you have a year amount of expenses saved up, that's probably all you need, because anything above a year, you can just start investing in other places like the market or like investments and things like that, okay? So the last thing we're going to look at, the last thing I put up here is her furniture / house sinking fund. And this goes back to, we're circling back to having a long-term plan for your money. I know that she is interested in one day buying a home. And one of her goals is that when she buys that home, she wants to be able to fully furnish that home out of her pocket. But in order to know so that we're not just driving blind, and I swear my hand is ashy. But in order to know so that we're not just driving blind, we need some numbers. We need to know about how much will it cost to fully furnish a house. If you're going to buy a house, about how much should you have saved for a down deposit? Things like that, right? Once we know those numbers, then we know what we're actually working towards. Until then, we're kind of like saying, I want to buy some furniture one day. I want to buy a house one day. But realistically, what is it going to take to actually make these things happen, right? So we don't have that right now. I don't know the answer to that right now. But what I'm going to do is, we see that we have $913 remaining in this budget. So that whole entire $913 we're going to put right here in the furniture / house fund. Now, the tricky part about this is, if this isn't a strong enough reason or a strong enough why or a strong enough motivation for you, D, it's going to be super easy to dip into this fund. It's going to be super easy to say, I want to go shopping, or I want to do this, or I want to do that, and I don't really have to save the $900. So this is why it's important that we establish the real reason for your long-term goals and what you're really trying to do, and actually apply some timelines to that so that we can have some oomph behind what we're doing. And because I'm putting this 913 here, this is also why I upped some of your other areas, okay? I upped your emergency fund. I also upped your personal spending fund. I upped your travel fund. And the reason why I did that is because I don't want you to feel deprivation. I don't want you to feel like I'm short here, or I'm short there, or I'm bored here, or I'm bored there, so I'm just going to go YOLO spending. So I gave you some extra YOLO spending money so that you could stick to the savings goals, okay? But once again, I think for the future, and I think for a follow-up conversation, I really want to firm out your long-term future financial goals, because that is super, super important. Right now, for those of you who don't know, and a lot of you already know, but taking myself for an example, I'm debt-free, right? But I have this house with a huge price tag. So for me, that is my financial why. It's the reason why if I have a few thousand or a few $100s left over at the end of the month, I don't feel bored like, well, what do I want to do now? I have my emergency funds fully funded. I have a good amount of savings. I'm maxing out in my 401k. I'm maxing out in my Roth IRA. Now what? My now what is work on paying off this house. Work on paying off this house. And then, just like I'm saying to everybody else, once I get within a year of realizing this goal, I then had to start coming up with my next why. What do I want to do next financially with my money? What is the path to building wealth? What is the path to building financial independence? That sort of thing. So guys, that's what I have for you. And so what we all want to know from Budgeting D is, will she accept or will she reject this budget? And then we're also curious to see how Rochelle Adamson is doing. How has she done with this budget? So let's hop over there to her channel if you haven't seen it already, because I don't know which one's coming out first. But let's hop over there and check that video out next. And then let's go over to Budgeting D's channel and see her ultimate decision or feedback on what she thinks about our advice. Until the next time, guys, if you're interested in having your money taken over, your budget taken over, or having us battle it out as to whose budget works for you the best, shoot us an email or a DM or something. You will find all of our socials in our details below. Until the next video, guys, I'm Tinesha. This is Fun and Budget. Peace.